And like always, I'll pull up YouTube on my phone so that I can get the conversation thread going. And so anybody that has any questions, I'll relay them to you because I know it's tough to see that while you're on.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really surprised you can't hear this construction business going around. It's wrong.
I did hear one loud bang, but wasn't. It's not a constant, so that works.
Okay, cool.
There it is. I do this every week. I'm like, I know where the live chat is, but I always have a tough time finding it again. And it's like right there. It's like if it was a snake, it'd be biting me. All right, just a little bit longer. We'll let a few more people jump on, get their lunches ready, or let their boss clear the room so that we can get the call going at work.
Need some headphones.
Yeah, there we go.
Is it getting cold down there yet?
No, not even close. I'm ready for it. It's like 90 and humid every day still. It's like
Jeez.
It hasn't changed, it seems like. It seems like it's getting hotter, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
I think because the sun's getting down back to whatever tropic it's on. I think it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm ready. I'm ready for some cool weather.
Yeah.
How about up by you guys?
It's getting a little chilly. It was fall weather today, I'd say.
Nice.
But then in the afternoon, it's like 110 and you're sweating.
Oh yeah.
You change your clothes a couple times a day.
That's for the birds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I think we'll go ahead and kick this puppy off. Very excited. I love getting on these calls with everyone, and love getting on with all the leaders. And one that I'm particularly fond of is our speaker here today, Crystal. And she's been around in the business, and from the get-go, she's brought forth a lot of what she's going to be talking about today, and she led with it the whole time. She led with it. So I don't think there's anybody better to talk about cultivating successful leaders through truth and grace than Crystal is. Her and her husband Marcus live out in Texas. They are health and fitness fanatics. They love the aspect of fitness, and they love helping people live those healthy, fulfilling lives that we're all pushing towards with our own journeys, and then also with our business as well. So I think we're going to get a lot of great insight today from Crystal as she talks a little bit about how she does this with her team, how she does this with her social media, how she does this just with her life. Because when we bring life into it, we're going to be able to be true. We're going to be able to be transparent, and we're going to be able to get our point across. And people are going to learn to trust us, and they're going to want to come along and join us. So without further ado, I'm going to let Crystal hop on here, and it's all yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, first, I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here. I hope that what I have to share with you offers some value and maybe a little bit of insight. I actually have slides for this, and I usually do not. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here with you. Let's see. Okay. So obviously, by what you can see from the slide and by what Tony said, we're going to be talking about cultivating successful leaders through truth and grace. And honestly, I do not know anyone that has a perfect leadership style. Well, maybe Big Guns upstairs, right? He nailed it, but that's another presentation. Each and every one of us are going to repeatedly make mistakes when it comes to leading in all aspects of our lives. You are maybe a mother or a father, you're in a marriage or a relationship, or you have a career. That puts you in some type of leadership position. And guess what? Unfortunately, we all screw up, and at some point, even while serving as a leader among leaders when it comes to coaching, we're going to make decisions, and sometimes those decisions are going to be paralyzing that make you want to crawl back in bed and pull covers over your head. We cannot escape imperfection, you guys, but we do have a choice. We have a choice to stay in bed and pull those covers over our head, or we can choose to move forward. Now, when I considered about what I would share on this call, I naturally wanted to share something practical, something that I felt comfortable about, because that's what we do as coaches. We want to offer value, right? But then I thought that was not going to challenge me. It was not going to challenge you. And so I made a different decision. I chose to talk about something that sometimes I feel like I excel in, and other times, often, I feel like I miss the mark. So today what I'm going to do essentially is I'm going to talk to you about what my team has done to not only grow themselves, but to also pass on a culture of wanting to grow as leaders. And so before we get started with that, I'm going to share a bit of my story. I have been a Beachbody coach for about 2.5 years now. I started because I originally had gone in the military at 18 years old, spent 6 years in the military, and when I got out, I began working as a hairstylist. And so there were times in my day where I would go all day long at work, and then I would binge eat at night. And so I put on about 30 pounds. And I saw my friend, who is my now coach, posting about, I think, Body Beast at the time. And I knew that I needed to reach out so I could start my own fitness journey. Being unhealthy was not something that I was used to. So I reached out to her, and side note, she had messaged me a year before, and I did not even respond to that message. So for everyone listening to this and you get discouraged when someone does not respond, keep believing in those people. So I reached out to her, and she connected me with 21 Day Fix. I immediately told her I wanted nothing to do with the business side. And as I started on the program, you guys, truthfully, it changed my life, and I wanted to help other people see the value in that. And then I fell in love with what this team is all about, what we offer other people. And then I fell in love with the idea of being able to be back in a leadership position, to have an impact in the lives of others, and to feel as if I had a purpose again. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today, is kind of my journey along the way. I'm going to get super vulnerable in this call, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about how some of my coaches have done that. These are a few things that we're going to go over. I'm going to talk about some things that may push you a little bit, that are going to challenge you, that are going to make you self-reflect. We'll talk about, are you a powerful person? The difference between leadership and administration, and then balancing all of that with truth and grace. And if we have time, I got a super cool Instagram tip that I'm going to show you at the very, very end. So we are going to get started with looking at, are you a powerful person? Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And in this little portion, a few things we're going to go over are powerless people, becoming a powerful person and why you need a whole team of them, team relationships, and then voice of change. So we will get started with powerless people. The reason I want to get started with this is because I feel that for any of us to be able to help others become successful leaders, we first have to do a lot of self-reflection. And I'm going to be sharing from a book that I absolutely love called Keep Your Love On. If you've looked at any of my social media, You've seen that I'm a huge advocate of this book. It totally changed my mind about the cycle of powerlessness I was in, and I'm gonna explain that to you right now. So when you believe that other people are scary or unsafe or more powerful than you, and when you believe that you need to get them to meet your needs, then you have 3 possible roles you get to play in relationships: the victim, the bad guy, or the rescuer. Now, if you're a victim, you're looking for a rescuer to make you feel safe and happy. And if you're a bad guy, you're using controlling and intimidation to protect yourself from responsibility, right? So these are some cycles that we can get caught up into, and that will really kind of downplay our ability to be good leaders. That first one there, the bad guy, what that one looks like is a person who continually acts as a bully. If you have maybe coaches on your team who are extremely defensive right off the bat, if they can't seem to conversate with other people, they're typically in a spot of being the bad guy. Now, the bad guy will often look for victims, right? A victim, and just to be vulnerable with you guys, I grew up in a single family home. My mom was an alcoholic. And so for a big part of my life, I was the rescuer. And into my early adulthood, I was kind of like, man, I'm tired of helping everyone else. And I flipped and I turned into having this victim mentality. And it is, it will destroy you not only as a person, but it really hinders you from being a good leader. Some examples of things you want to look out for someone that's in a victim mentality, it would sound a little bit like this. I live in a perpetual state of anxiety because I feel out of control. In adding you to my life, I have increased my anxiety because I can't control you either. I'm threatened by everything you do that I didn't decide for you until you let me control you. I don't feel safe in relationships until you let me control you. And another thing with the victim mentality that I've learned to redirect myself away from is placing blame on every single person around you for circumstances in your life. If we want to be good leaders, we have got to get over that. You will never be able to lead like God intended you to if you're stuck in this victim mentality. This third area there, they call it like the triangulation, is the rescuer. And a lot of people actually glorify this position. This is one that I've also known all too well. You look for people to rescue. You overextend yourself. And sometimes I still have to pull myself out of that role because it gets to a point where you're overextending, you're spreading yourself too thin, and then you become resentful for doing so. And you guys at the very bottom, that's the book that I'm speaking out of, Keep Your Love On. Highly, highly recommend you getting that book. So this slide, I just want you to maybe start to kind of think about maybe yourself, do some self-reflecting, or people on your team that might be caught up in this role. Because what we eventually want to do is we want to get them into a powerful state. Now, a powerful person is someone that can deliberately create the environment in which they want to live, right? They do not try to control other people because they know that their job is to control themselves. This is one thing that my team and I have really been focused on lately. We have all read this book together multiple times. We are focused on controlling ourselves. It is so easy in this business, especially, to get caught up in all the problems that are going on in everyone else's life and to feel responsible for those. What we have to know is that we are going to have to make decisions and we are going to have to mirror the role as a leader, and we can't do that if we're focused on everyone else. The only thing we can do is manage ourselves, right? Now, when you think of a powerful person, you might assume that it's a person who's the loudest in the room or the one telling everyone else what to do. That's kind of where I was when I was younger. When I thought about a powerful person, I thought about someone that was in a suit and tie, or a woman that had a big office with a bunch of windows, right? That was where my mind was. But that's not the case at all. A powerful person is someone that is, they're going to require the same standards to everyone else as they do themselves. And this is something that was hard for me to implement when I first started really stepping into a leadership position here with coaching, because I didn't want to overwhelm others. And I had to get in this mindset that I can be who I say I am on a consistent basis. And because of that, I know that others can do the same for themselves. So this is one that honestly, there's a whole chapter on this where you can go through, and it really teaches you how to communicate, how to set up boundaries. And I feel like this portion of the book is what has allowed me to unapologetically lead my team in the way that I feel that they deserve. And the reason why all of this is super important, guys, is because when we are creating a team, relationships, especially when it comes to leadership, are very important. If you have a team full of powerless people, so you have two powerless people trying to communicate or run a challenge group or do a training, all you're going to end up with is an extremely controlling environment, a codependent environment, an environment full of manipulation. When two powerless people or a group of powerless people get together, they basically blame each other. They're constantly saying, well, I feel this way because you did this, and there's no productivity. On the flip side, which is a position that I have been in prior to us all going through this book, is a powerful person and a powerless person, and that creates a very dependent environment. What happens is we say, I'm going to work harder on your life than you do, and we try to pull people along with us, and that is extremely draining. And then that's when you get resentment that pulls up. So if you are, and it's easy, you guys, because we all have a heart where we want to serve, right? And we want to lead, and we want people to realize their purpose and their dreams. It's easy to have that powerful and powerless conversation or dynamic with a coach on your team. The goal is not to create codependency on you. The goal is to lift them up and help them to understand that they are now responsible for their life and their actions. And at the very end, which is where I feel like my team and I have really grown into this good space of having a powerful and powerful relationship. And it has created so much freedom. It's as if we all understand that we're responsible for our own lives, right? That we don't want to live in this world where we're just relying on each other for, someone to get their power hour done or to do this or to do that. They've really taken ownership. And for me, as someone that gets to sit back and watch that, it means the world. Our team is really centered on creating significance, and to see them stepping up in roles in their life that they never thought possible, that's a huge win for me. So with that, some things that you really want to look for and that will help you identify kind of where someone is in this whole realm of powerlessness and being a powerful person is a voice of choice, right? And our goal is to get each other and encourage each other to speak like leaders. Someone that might be in one of those powerless positions, they're going to use things like, I'll try, I might be able to. A serious person that is in a powerless position is I have to or I can't. You see, when I think about Beachbody, I don't think about this being an obligation. I love what I do. I love this. I served in the military for 6 years and I loved that, but I love this. And so when we're in a spot of gratitude for something that we are doing, that is a powerful position. So even if you are in a spot where you're saying, oh man, yeah, I say this. I say, I'll try to make the call, or I'll try to help with the challenge group, or I have to do this. If you're there, you're not a lost hope. You can always make that switch. And to be honest with you, there are times where I had to fake it until I make it. And I started waking up and being intentional with saying things like, I will, I do, I will not. So that is huge. And your influence over your team is to speak like a leader and then teach them to do something. One thing, I'll give you guys this tip. This has honestly been the most amazing thing for my challenge groups. And I started a year ago, and I have one coach who constantly reminds me of this. She posted her before pictures, and she basically put up, my body's disgusting, this is so embarrassing. And I took it down, I deleted it out of the challenge group, I messaged her and I said, I want you to go back and post that picture, and I want you to say, I love this body because. It's affirming, over speaking life over where she wanted to go. And she did. And that empowered her to move forward. And you can just see the change in her as a leader, and it makes me so happy. So really start to use your voice of choice and to fake it if you have to until you make it, right? The whole point of me sharing those things with you guys is because I really think they're important when we're trying to create a complete team. And what I have learned in leadership is there's a difference between leadership and administration. And if anyone on my team is on this call, they know that I am not gifted in administration whatsoever. Someone that is gifted in administration is detail-oriented. They are organized. I think I have some coaches over here right now, and I'm pretty sure that they're laughing that I even have slides together and notes, because I usually like to just wing it and cast my vision out there. I am more of a leadership style person. I see the big picture, very, very passionate, but I don't always have that administration piece, and that's why my team is so important. We have to know as leaders that we might be in a leadership position, but man, we rely on the people around us. I rely on the other leaders of my team to uplift me when I have to be uplifted, right? So I wrote down here some key components of when you start to help people become that powerful person, then you can begin to mold your team around helping other people see their gifts and to help them grow in those gifts. These are just a few that I feel I have seen develop on my team that have helped us kind of create this really cohesive environment where we work together. The first one that you see there is a driver. So drivers are natural leaders. They are concentrated on vision to work and together to supply momentum for the entire team, right? They're positive, they're relentless in pursuing an idea. They're fantastic advocates for our challengers and new coaches. They keep the team focused on a problem that we're here to solve. I have a lot of drivers on my team. The debater, that's someone that questions your assumptions, calls out your leap of faith, points out flaws in the plan. They see problems long before they arise, and they keep everyone grounded and prepared. Those people, to me, are the most important because I'm a dreamer. I don't always look at where the problems are going to come from. So it's really important that you find someone from your team that's gifted in being able to seek that out. The disruptor, that kind of sounds like a negative term, but I promise it's not. This is someone that challenges the status quo and breaks others out of their mental ruts. It's someone that is intellectually curious. They're thinkers. And honestly, I feel like they're some of the people that are untapped into, especially when it comes to coaching. So make sure that you're looking for one of those on your team too. The detailer, I got two of those upstairs. Two of my coaches are detailers. They dig into every facet of a project. Detailers focus on helping everyone before silly mistakes are made. They are really focused on identifying what's missing, even in the best laid out plans. They're going to plan things out for summit. They're going to be focused on things like that. And when those people are operating in a powerful position, man, they are a game changer for your team. That last one up there, a doer and a dreamer, this person never ceases to imagine what's not possible. They think big, and hopefully they're stretching the bounds of your team on what's considered achievable. They never stop asking what if, and they supply your team with electric and optimistic creative energy. So that was just a tidbit to really start to seek out those people on your team. They are a fantastic addition. And now I want to get into exactly what I had this call focused around. That was a whole lot to get here, so I hope you're still with me. But this is the one thing that it's taken me quite some time to learn, and the one thing that I feel is instrumental in being a successful leader who creates other successful leaders, and it is leading with a balance of truth and grace. For a long time, I led with truth. I went into the military at 18 years old. I was used to everything that you imagine the military is all about, and I bled blue. So that basically means I was hardcore when it came to rules. I would tell you exactly like it was. And oftentimes when people just lead with truth, they create a dictatorship. They are focused on mistakes. They lead by fear and intimidation. And when I discovered that about myself, it absolutely broke my heart, because my goal while I'm here, my goal while I'm coaching, as a mom, as an employee or a business owner, I don't want to lead like that. I want to lead where people feel that they can be themselves and have free space to add value to the team, right? Now on the flip side, which happened when I first started coaching, because I had always been this like hardcore leader, you could say, I basically went 180 and I started to leave just with grace. And honestly, it was a pushover. I continually said next time, next time, next time. There was no progress at the very beginning being made because people weren't being pushed out of their comfort zones. And I feel like there's a lot of coaches in this position. We're too nervous to say what we think, right? Someone tells you they want to quit their job, or they're in massive amounts of debt and they want to get out, or they really want to have a platform for their voice, but they're not being pushed. And it's so easy for us to kind of slide back and not remind them of why they're there, which is why it's so important to balance both truth and grace. Truth and grace address an issue or a vision, but it leaves space for mistakes. It allows for someone to be pushed forward in a goal that they've told you that they want to be in, right? For me, I want to create an atmosphere and a relationship base where we can all speak life into each other without fearing someone's going to be offended. Because this is what I have found, and if you've been coaching for a little bit, I'm sure that you have found this too. Stick with me on this one. Time in erodes awareness of. I'll say it again. Time in erodes awareness of. It is so easy when you are coaching for a while to forget the passion that you had when you first started. If you've been doing this, it's easy to forget how you felt in that first challenge group. And having the ability of an open door, having the balance of truth and grace, especially with your new coaches, allows them to remind you of why you fell in love with this in the first place. You have got to create an atmosphere where they feel they can step in and they have a voice and they will be pushed and they will be able to add value to the team. That has been one thing that I have been so focused on this past year. And to be honest with you, if you looked at me where I'm at in my business right now, strictly in numbers and facts, like wise as far as Beachbody, you probably wouldn't be too impressed with that right now, because I've been super focused on growing myself as a leader and helping my team do the same and creating another solid foundation. And learning to balance all of this with truth and grace has been instrumental. So I really encourage you guys just to dive more into this concept. There's a lot of information online, because it really, for me, has been a game changer. And I know it's been a game changer for a lot of my coaches as well. So I want to, before I go into a little recap of everything, I want you guys to watch this with me really fast.
There are no mistakes. There really aren't any, because you have a supreme destiny. When you're in your little mind, in your little personality mind, where you're not centered, where you really don't know who you are, that you come from something greater and bigger, and we really all are the same. When you don't know that, you get all flustered. You get stressed all the time, wanting something to be what it isn't. There's a supreme moment of destiny calling on your life. Your job is to feel that, to hear that, to know that. And sometimes when you're not listening, you get taken off track. You get in the wrong marriage, the wrong relationship, you take the wrong job. Yeah, but it's all leading to the same path. There are no wrong paths. There are none. There's no such thing as failure, really, because failure is just that thing trying to move you in another direction. so you get as much from your losses as you do from your victories. Because the losses are there to wake you up. When you understand that, you don't allow yourself to be completely thrown by a grade or by a circumstance, because your life is bigger than any one experience. What would you say to your younger self? Every person says in one form or another, I would have said, relax. Relax. It's going to be okay. It really is going to be okay. Because even if you're on a detour right now, and that's how you know when you're not at ease with yourself. That is the cue that you need to be moving in another direction. Don't let yourself get all thrown off, continue to be thrown off course. When you're feeling off course, that's the key. How do I turn around? So when everybody was talking about, when I started this network, if I had only known, good Lord, how difficult it would be. The way through the challenge is to get still and ask yourself, what is the next right move? Not think about, oh, I got all of this to do. What is the next right move? And then from that space, make the next right move and the next right move. And not to be overwhelmed by it, because you know your life is bigger than that one moment. You know you're not defined by what somebody says is a failure for you, because failure is just there to point you in a different direction.
What is the next right move? Gets me every time, you guys. As a leader, you're always going to be thinking, what is the next right move? You don't have to be perfect. Often lies become deeply rooted in a person's core, right? And that's going to require consistent work to dig out and replace that with truth. If you grew up in an abusive home, a powerless environment, you're probably going to need someone to help you identify that truth. So I am going to encourage you guys to reach out to your coach, reach out to someone that you trust that's going to speak into your life with truth and grace. Some of my final thoughts on creating successful leaders. First, teach them the principles of becoming a powerful person. Get this book in the hands of everyone you know that is in a leadership position. I just don't feel it's possible to really reach the pinnacle of leadership if you are not in a position of being a powerful person. If you're stuck in one of those spots of being a victim or a rescuer or a bad guy, it will be extremely hard to move on. Second, teach them to seek a complete core group of leadership. It is apparent we cannot do this alone. You know how rank advancements work. You know how the culture of a team works. If you don't have a solid foundation, the first sign of trouble, you're going to have people flee unless they have a core group of leadership and they have a reason for being there, right? Number 3, let them struggle a little bit. This is where grace falls in. I used to be, it's really funny, I feel like I've done a 180 in all aspects of my life. I used to be the type of person who said failure was not an option, who said, no, I will do it because I want it done right. I used to be that person when I was in a leadership position in the military. And what coaching has taught me is that's not always the case, because if someone can't get their hands on something, if they can't have a chance to mess up, they're not going to grow. That's the way I learn. I learned by messing up and then learning not to do that again, or learning how to improve. So let your team struggle a little bit. If a coach that's been on your team for 2 weeks comes to you and says they want to help with training, let them help. One thing that I really used to focus on last year that I'm getting ready to bring back is having a new coach call at the end of the month, where if a coach felt they had value to add, it didn't matter their rank or anything like that, how long they had been on the team, I offered them to come to this call and we would talk on one subject. We have a couple documents on onboarding team members and whatnot. And one of those documents that is successful with new coaches came from a very call like that. So let your coaches struggle a little. And lastly, lead with truth and grace and be unapologetic about it, no matter how hard it is to speak the truth into someone's life. And I promise you that will be difficult, because you will have coaches who've been with you for a while who start to give up on their goals, who start to doubt themselves, and it's really, really hard to be that person, especially if they're a friend, to speak truth and to remind them of why they're here and to not let them fall in those powerless positions. But you have to do it if you want to create a team, cultivate a team of successful leaders. So that, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here. Maybe. Okay, so you guys, that's what I had for you when it comes to creating a successful team of leaders through a balance of truth and grace. I hope that you got a little bit out of that. This is the book that I was talking about. It's called Keep Your Love On. There is some JC talk in here, which I love, but just to let you know, it is a really good book. Another amazing way to use this book is actually in a marriage. It talks to you about creating effective communication and setting healthy boundaries. So this has been a life changer for me. And I don't know how much time we have, Tony. If we don't have time for me to show them this Instagram site really quick, then I can put up a video later if you want to do that. What do you think?
No, I think you're good to go and share that.
Okay.
You know, we can cut it out if we need to. Otherwise, I think it's going to be great. So go ahead and share away.
Okay, so you guys, first, before I show this to you, this site is not a third-party posting site. It is not one that like Hootsuite or Buffer that's going to post directly to your social media platform. And just to tie this into creating successful leaders, I really think it's important for us to continually seek out resources that's going to help our team grow, right? Or help them duplicate a process. And one of the things that most of my coaches have problems with is finding the time, right? They feel like they can't post on social media. So I found this site, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it up for you. It is called Later, and I think you guys should be able to see this. So I basically took off all of my stuff just so you could preview this. But essentially what this site does is it allows you to schedule Instagram posts. You can upgrade and add in other social media. It will let you do it to Facebook and Twitter as well, but I am cheap if you've not looked at my Facebook page. I like to just stick with free stuff. So where did it go? Back to calendar. This site here, basically what it does is it lets you schedule a post, and then it will text the picture to you and automatically copy it to your clipboard, and then you can upload it to your Instagram, or if you did the upgraded version, the free site. You upload your photos on this area here. It is very easy. Let's say I had this photo right here. I can just drag it from my desktop and put it over here, and it will feed in right there. So what I could do is if I wanted to post this today at 2 p.m., put it there. I can actually edit the photo from here if I want to. And then I could put a caption like, Marcus obviously has the best wifey. Or I need this shirt, or whatever, right? And then you can schedule the post out down here and save it. That does not post this to your Instagram. This is going to send, because my phone number is set up in the account, it's going to send it to my phone. The other really cool thing with this is you can actually preview what this would look like on your Instagram site. So if you have a theme, I usually will do a black and white picture in there. I can see if it's gonna fit with my theme, right? So pretty cool. It's very easy to delete this if I wanted to. I would just go in and press discard post. And then you can even do it like months out, you guys. It is a time saver. And this has been something that I'm trying to teach and encourage all of my coaches to use, because the thing about it is it does not mess with your Facebook affinity. I'm going to unshare this really quick. And if you guys have any questions as well about the site, go ahead and ask them. I think Tony has a chat thing pulled up. But the really neat thing about this, and if you're a new coach and you might not know about Facebook affinity or whatnot, sometimes third-party posting sites affects how many people will actually see your post. So because this is not tied to a third-party posting site, it does not mess with your Facebook affinity. It just allows you to schedule things, and it takes a lot of time and work out of having to create a new post. So I just wanted to share that really quick tip with you guys. That's what I had on that one. Now I'm done, I promise.
Awesome. No, that is, I like that. So what is the, what's the name of the site again? Later?
It's called later.com. And the other thing I think I can show you guys on my phone is there is an online or a mobile app as well. So I can go in and do everything. Whew, that is a dirty phone. I can do everything from here too. It makes you set up the whole portion on your desktop, but you can also have it on mobile as well.
Cool. So when you do get when you do schedule that picture, it sends it to your
phone.
You have to physically go in and then
you can. It copies everything over to the clipboard, yep. So you don't have to go in and type anything. You can legit just push paste, and it will fill up. It'll just put in the caption area for Instagram, and everything's good to go.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah, the chat, I'm having some technical difficulties. I have my question for everybody. I don't see anybody underneath it. So feel free to message them to Crystal or myself, and we can go over. But I just got to say, that call was unbelievable. That was, I think, the things that you're finding and you're learning and how you share them with, now with us, but I know you're doing this type of sharing with your team. It's amazing. You're getting a point across. You're getting some clarity to why we want to do it, and that's one of the things that I wrote down early is the bad guy, the victim, the rescuer. We have to get gut honest with ourselves. Like I'm sure you did when it was like, hey, I guess. I'm a rescuer. Well, now all of a sudden I went way too far the other way, and now I'm the victim. How do I fix it? We have to be honest with ourselves. Otherwise, we're gonna be putting out our perceived version of ourselves, and pretty soon it's hard to keep up with. We can't keep up with who we think we are when the real me is wanting to be kind of put out there and known to the world. So going through, being honest first with ourselves, and then creating that trust with our team, leading with love, so that your coaches know when you come to them, it's not a bash on you fest. It's a, hey, I love you. We've been working together for a while. There's some things that I've been seeing. Do you mind if we talk about them and work through them? It's not something that I want to point them out and say, shame on you, but it's something that I think if we can address the right way, we can make you stronger and move forward. Is that something that you want to do?
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that's how you work with your team, and from all the stuff I wrote down every slide because I think it's awesome. I'm definitely getting that book because it is. If we're in any type of mode other than that powerful leader, and when I'm talking about leader, I'm talking about leading our own life. Whether we're out to lead others, that's up to how we put that message out. But talking about how we lead our own lives, if we're not putting in that time and we're not putting in that effort to grow and develop, no one's going to come in and join our team. It gets picked up very, very quickly, no matter how good we are at disguising it. People are going to be able to read through that, and they're going to run for the hills.
Yeah.
But you create that environment where it's like, hey, come and join us. We're lifting each other up, and we're also working through our weaknesses. I think that's awesome. So question for you, Crystal. I know you said you have a team call where you do this, but say you're one-on-ones with a new coach. How do you apply this? The stuff that you have learned from Keep Your Love On. How do you apply that to those calls? Are you, is it in your mind right away that, hey, I'm gonna listen and then try to apply this, or is it allow some time between the new person coming into your life to where I start talking about this?
Honestly, from the get-go on their Getting Started Right call, which I try to make it like a non-negotiable to be on within 24 hours. I start to kind of assess where they are, right? And that's not me judging them for a place that they're in. That's me seeing where I need to, maybe what direction I need to help them take, whether that be this is the first book that they get. So right from the beginning, it's kind of me sitting back and seeing what state they're in. Are they in that victim mentality, right? Are they in that rescuer mentality? Or are they already in a space where they're a powerful person and they're ready to take the next steps of leadership? And I try to introduce this book pretty much as soon as possible, just because I think it's so valuable. Like you said, even if someone comes on the team and they don't have any ambition to be a 15-star coach or to have Beachbody be their main whatever thing in their life, they're in some type of position of leading themselves, right? We're all leaders, essentially. And so just on a personal level, I want them to be able to start to let this work in their life. So right away, Getting Started Right call. And then I incorporate this, honestly, into more than my coaches probably realize. I'm constantly talking about this, constantly trying to put in that voice of choice and empowering people to make those mistakes and to step in a position of leadership. And so this book, I feel like it's the center of kind of our team. And I try to incorporate it right away.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I think if you're watching this, get this video, get the link. It's going to be up right away. Get it to your team. Get it to people who you feel need to watch it, and the people that I feel need to watch it is everyone. So get it out there. Let them watch, learn for themselves, and then go back, and take that role of leadership and go back and say, hey, what did you think? Did anything speak out to you? And then you go from there. That's what these calls are for. That's what the links are for. And we're so grateful that you were able to come on with us here today, Crystal. Marcus and I are extremely blessed to have you in their lives, and as we are, with the DFG family. And we can't think of another coach out there that fits the role of who we want as a coach on our team as well as you do. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for leading with that in everything that you do.
Awesome. Thank you for allowing me to share. I really appreciate it.
No problem. All right, everyone, get out there, kick some butt, be awesome. You're worth it, all right? Love you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.